Fondazione Capellino is the innovator of a new economic model called the Reintegration Economy. The foundation is financed from 100% of revenues after deduction of costs and taxes generated by Almo Nature, a dog and cat food company, which is entirely owned by the foundation. This way, it is independent and free to pursue its objective, the protection of biodiversity. Fondazione Capellino works within 5 different areas: habitat and biodiversity corridors. The great biologist Edward O. Wilson imagined, in one of his latest works, leaving half of the planet to untouched nature. To give life to this vision, the Foundation works to create intangible ecological corridors, which connect islands of remaining wild nature and large parks. In this area, in Tanzania, we are creating the Kilombero Elephant Corridor. In recent weeks, the works to create a 13-kilometer-long ecological corridor have begun. The corridor will connect 2 national parks, creating a transit route for elephants, direct and without contact with humans. The Foundation always has an active role in leading the projects by verifying the effectiveness of the interventions and looking for new solutions. With this perspective, we approached the project in Brazil for the creation of a biodiversity corridor along the Araguaia River. We appointed a control commission made up of local biodiversity experts, lawyers, and forestry engineers to monitor the effectiveness of the actions in progress. We went to site with the commission and discovered that the project was, unfortunately, still inefficient. In recent months, with the support of the Brazilian government through Minister Marina Silva, with whom we met, we are working to radically reset the project. Climate change. Human activities are responsible for an increasing impact on biodiversity and ecosystems, and climate change is intensifying these threats. Fondazione Capellino has decided to launch a project in Florence that, for the first time, experiments with innovative nature-based solutions in which the impacts of climate change are measured. Different areas of the city will be studied and modeled, and from these studies it will be possible to obtain a model that can also be exported and replicated in other European cities. Biodiverse agriculture. It is essential that agriculture regains its role of producing healthy, quality food while respecting biodiversity. There are no ready-made formulas. One of our lines of research is represented by biodiverse agriculture or natural agriculture.
Quindi questo è un campo sperimentale per produrre tante cose con l'obiettivo di capire quanta biodiversità in questo campo sperimentale ci può essere all'interno di un campo produttivo. Poi a Villa Fortuna abbiamo anche una vigna sperimentale, stiamo per impiantare un'altra, abbiamo anche la zona boschiva che gestiamo. In questi ultimi mesi abbiamo avviato la semina di una copertura vegetale, quindi anche un mix di semi per riportare un po' di fertilità e biodiversità nel suolo.
Impact of human activities on biodiversity. Fondazione Capellino is committed to creating models for measuring the impacts of human activities on biodiversity, and it does so working together with high-level research centers to define a universal measurement system.
Fondazione Capellino, nella sua duplice caratteristica della fondazione e dell'impresa Almo Nature, ha svolto un ruolo molto importante nel contribuire all'approfondimento dei temi sia degli impatti delle dipendenze che della definizione e individuazione di indicatori, anche per il settore in cui opera e la rilevanza che storicamente Almo Nature e la Fondazione Capellino hanno dato al tema della biodiversità.
Restoration of historical buildings of Villa Fortuna. The complex will host the first biodiversity school in Italy.
Stanno per partire i lavori di ristrutturazione di Villa Fortuna, che sarà la futura sede della Fondazione Capellino. Innanzitutto che ci sia zero occupazione di suolo agricolo,
e l'ambito è interessantissimo. Uno degli ambiti agricoli, ricettivi, intellettuali più interessanti che abbia mai visto, perso nelle vallate del Monferrato.
Sicuramente la particolarità è di lavorare in un contesto naturale rispetto a quello in cui di solito lavoriamo, che sono grandi città come Milano e Roma, e quindi qui la Fondazione ci ha dato la possibilità di integrare tecnologie innovative all'interno di un contesto naturalistico.
La villa invece diventerà sede di una scuola che avrà tutti i principi della Fondazione, che sono meravigliosi.
Almo Nature, all profits to the planet and its three renewed purposes. Respect for dogs and cats through its products. The Companion for Life project. The financing of Fondazione Capellino thanks to the work of all its employees. Almo Nature classifies its products based on the quality of the ingredients that compose them, to offer maximum transparency. Companion for Life will launch a rallying call for associations dedicated to the protection of dogs and cats in Europe. The commitment will be to adopt laws that allow us to move from the concept of property to that of responsibility. Adopt Me, the initiative that we have carried out within Companion for Life in recent years, aimed at reducing abandonments and encouraging adoptions from shelters, came to an end on April 30th, with more than 40,000 adoptions generated, with more than 5 million meals having been donated since 2018. By the end of 2023, approximately 35 million euros were transferred to Fondazione Capellino. We have many projects underway, and we want to keep you updated on how your work makes them possible. For this reason, every 2 months we will return live to tell you the latest news, the achieved goals, and our ideas for the future. If you have any questions, now is the time. You can write them in the comments and we will answer you at once.
Good afternoon or good evening everyone, and welcome to this first episode of Reintegration Economy News. I'm here with Pier Giovanni Capellino, which is the founding father of the Reintegration Economy, and this means that he's the founder also of the two entities representing the soul of this model. We are talking about Almo Nature and the Capellino Foundation. Capellino Foundation in Italian is Fondazione Capellino. Hello Pier Giovanni.
Hello. Hello everyone.
Let's see.
Hello colleagues.
Right. Let's see if there are any questions from the audience.
Question from?
There is some brainstorming rolling, so in the meantime, if I may, I make you a question. All right. Let's say why it is important for Fondazione Capellino to create protected parks or area with integral reserves, which means strictly protected, together with the ecological corridors.
But it's very important for our conception, that is also the conception of the Professor Wilson, that think it will be very important if the human could in the future allowed the nature, allowed all the species alive in the 50% of the planet, and the other 50% for the human. That because the nature and the human, they have not the same way of living. The nature belong the nature law. We human, we organize our societies along the civil code.
Right, thank you, Pier Giovanni. In the meantime, a question arrived.
Oh,
okay.
good.
Which is the difference between this foundation and other foundations?
The main difference between Fondazione Capellino and the other foundation is that the Fondazione Capellino own a company, Almo Nature. In principle, the other foundation are very often made by company that decide to invest part of their money in a foundation, or are spontaneous, as the Fondazione Wilson Foundation was found by the inherit of the Professor Wilson, and the inherit of the Professor Wilson can base their independence in finance from the grant of different people, organization. In our case, Capellino, Fondazione Capellino, the money become from the work of our colleagues, mine and from the colleagues. They offer, that's why all of us guys, you must be very proud of that, because you offer the added value that you create inside our organization with your job. You offer this added value to the project of the foundation. That is the difference. The money we are spending as full transparency and full traceability. When the money comes from donors, you never know from where the money comes, but also is very important that we are spending the money that comes from our job, daily job.
Totally. There is another question. What do you think are the most effective projects that have the best impact?
But all the projects, they have the best impact. But I think that in the mid-long term, the project that will have the best impact will be the project regarding the agriculture. Because what we are doing with our biodiversity, what we are experimenting, and I can already announce now, thanks an agreement that we had made, we will expand the project from Villa Fortuna in several parts in the world, in different continents, different parallel, and different meridian, si dice.
Right.
And different meridian. That's will be for sure the project that could more impact in the life, because biodiversity agriculture means don't allow any substance, posso dirlo? Substance?
Right.
Substance or material, just we run the biodiversity agriculture with recreating a balance in the life. We need more microbe, we need more insect, we need more fungi, we need more bacteria. That is what we are experimenting. And all substances, even the substances that are allowed in organic agriculture or in okay, I do not remember the name of the other. We don't use such kind of substances.
Thank you, Pier Giovanni. We have another question.
Please.
What is the best way to tell our clients, Elmo Nature from Latvia is writing to us, to tell our clients and partners about the philosophy of the foundation? For example, the three most important points.
But, okay, how explain? First of all, for explaining, we need to have in front open-minded, because what we are doing is not usual. But if we must give some bullet point is, okay, what we are doing, what we are offering to the biodiversity and to the biodiversity survive is the money we are creating by ourselves. We don't ask people to help us in the effort. What we are asking is also if you belong that we are doing something that help the life in general, please consider when you buy the pet food for your cats and for your dog. That's what we ask. Then, of course, if the people already share our value, they can decide, okay, I have a cat, I have a dog, instead of buying buffalo, I can buy, or origin, I can buy Almo Nature for the simple reason that the profit that Almo Nature make are not destined to generate other finance investment, but they go back to the nature. And then at the end, I think also you have to imagine that what we are doing is not for us. We are doing that for the future generation. Yes, it's true, you don't ask us to do something for you, but the fact is, anyway, we are doing. Don't forget that.
Right. I go to select some other questions because now there are many. Any plans for a North American-based project?
Yes, we would like to have a project for North America. That will be one of the goal I have during my imminent coming. I will arrive at your home Monday 20, and one of the goal of my stay is also fixing definitively one project for Canada and US. Okay, I do not want to tell now because I am not sure to achieve, but I hope to inform before my leaving June 23, and then having this subject in the next news in July.
Okay, thank you. Another question, how do you plan to communicate in the future what the foundation is doing?
How I plan to communicate in the future what the foundation is doing, but okay.
Maybe new channels, different ways. I try to understand the
guys,
meaning of the
I think the idea also belong the importance, si può dire importance,
Yes.
of Almo Nature in North America. I think today we are doing very well in Canada, not so well in US, and I hope we can soon improve this state of the art. And the communication go with, because again, for doing what we are doing, at the end also we need the money, and the money must be generated by our job. I do not want to say with that we are not working enough, because everyone is very, very dedicated, but in US we didn't find yet the best way for achieving the goal as we are doing in Europe.
All right. They are asking us, can you give us an update about the Brazil projects versus the next steps?
The Brazil project is in this moment on hold, because in front of the problem we assess during our visit, we were forced to put our intervention on hold, and in the same time the same things was done also by the Caixa, by the other entities that was granting money to Araguaia, but we are working, because for taking this project out from the problem and making this project concrete, we must fix something with the Brazilian federal government and also with the state government. Our committee, and in particular a lawyer is working for us in Brasilia in particular, Eurico Toledo, is preparing a new trip in Brazil that it will not be done in May because negotiating with the politics is not easy, even if they have a good attitude and good faith, but it's not easy because changing the law, and if Brazil want to be effective in struggling against as the Brazilian called il dematamiento, they must change or improve some law. And that is what Enrico Toledo is preparing, and in the same time preparing my next trip, if this will be achieved, for August.
Right.
But before August, unfortunately, the situation is what we publish in our document in December. The situation is not changed. All the entity that was granting fund to Araguaia stop to deliver money because of the total, I do not want to say corruption because we have not the proof of that, but the total inefficiency of the money spent.
Right.
Things are much more easier. And but okay, I do not want to debate today about that, but the renaturalization, it will be easier if just the human step back.
Right.
And thinks there is no need about a lot of money. The human must decide, okay, the natural area, they must define the natural area, and they step back because the nature in Brazil is so powerful that the nature can restart alone. But what the nature don't need is to have too many human in the field.
Totally clear. On this regard, we have an interesting question. They say, do you think the governments of the different countries where the Foundation plans project cooperate enough and your message is understood by politics?
No. No, unfortunately not. The politics, but you can see by yourself in every country. Okay, we are talking about democracy. We are not talking about Russia or China, but where the democracy are alive is not the best time for the democracy, and the politicians are just focused on their career. And okay, I do not want to say that is the case of Marina Silva, but the politicians are not really interested in doing something effective. Because the example of Brazil is paradigmatic, but also in Tanzania, in other words, what the nature need is, okay, that's why the Professor Wilson, with his idea of 50 part of the planet for the human and 50 part from the nature, I think was absolutely right, because the nature must be live alone, and the nature is autosufficient. What the nature need is the dimension. Because the nature, okay, you can have biodiversity in a garden, but if you want to have full biodiversity, you need continuity and dimension. That's why the corridors are very important, and that's why to cut the natural area, it's a disaster, because in cutting, we automatically reduce the biodiversity.
Right. Okay, since time is unfortunately running out, I would select 2 further questions. One question: do you plan further projects in Germany?
Yes, in Germany, finally we are a project on the river, close to the river, with the river that are attribute of the river Donau, and Giorgio and Alfonso, that is our filmmaker here, because also yesterday I forgot to thank Alfonso, but everything we are doing today from the technical point of view is Alfonso, that is in front of me. You cannot see him, but is really a very important person for us. And yes, we are starting with this project. Giorgio and Alfonso was in I think was in Franconia, Bavaria, but the north of Bavaria, in Franconia, and they met several local mayor and association, and that it was a kind of final assessment, because the foundation already was ready to invest, and we was fully convinced about what we saw. But okay, that is just I want to scherzare, come si dice, non ricordo più. Scherzare.
Kidding.
Kidding. Okay, it was normal, because the serious côté of the German was not under discussion. Our assessment was just because that is a procedure of the foundation. But yes, the foundation will cover this project with other German association, and we are very happy about that.
All right, one last question. How did you learn about Professor Wilson, and how has his scholarship impacted in your thinking?
But because I invite every one of you to read Wilson. Wilson is not a prose, is a poem, even if he writes in prose, and it's really a dreamer, and his way of writing, it's really nice, and also it's the message are very simple, and the example is delivering are if you are negationist, yes, si dice negationist, you can say okay, it's not true, but it's so simple, it's so direct, and that's why I think Wilson was not really an activist, because he tried to convince with his writing. But I invite all of you to become, we must be also activists, because we must contaminate the people close to us, and we must convince them on the importance of approaching the biodiversity with what I call the respect. Because if we respect the biodiversity, it means we will respect all the life. And the idea of war, finally, or the idea of the violence, let me say violence, will be completely out of our mind. That is what biodiversity, an activism biodiverse can bring in your mind, because it can completely change the way of thinking. Anyway, it changed mine, and I invite you, if you want to do this effort of changing your mind, because it's an incredible experience, and it's very, very, very important for the life in general.
Thank you very much, Pier Giovanni. The audience is saying that you are so inspiring.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. You are very gentle. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for the kind
Ciao.
participation today.
See you in July.
Yes, keep tuned and see you to the next episode of Reintegration Economy News. Enjoy your evening.
Quanti siamo arrivati?